Game 1 of the World Series. Between two teams that won at least 100 games, it's the Dodgers against the Astros.
And on the first pitch, Chris Taylor hits it out. In one pitch, the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead. Swung on and missed, strike 3. 5 strikeouts for Kershaw through 3 innings. Fly ball to left field. Alex Bregman has just tied it at 1.
2 home runs, one by each side, a tie ball game.
Kershaw has now struck out 9 through 5. Kershaw deals. Swung on and missed, strike 3. That's the 11th strikeout for Kershaw. Here's the 1-2. He stays put. And a fly ball to left field. It's deep. Back at the wall. And it's gone! A 2-run home run! And the Dodgers take a 3-1 lead. The postseason heroics of Justin Turner continue. Fly ball, center field. Taylor's underneath it. He's got room. He's there. He's got it. The end of the line, and a mighty fine line for Clayton Kershaw tonight. Kenley Jansen on the shut the door. Pops it up. He's got it. And the Dodgers take Game 1 of the World Series, winning it 3-1.
Yes, Dodgers take Game 1. The left arm of Clayton Kershaw getting it done. We're going to have more on Clayton Kershaw momentarily. Oral's going to break him down. But first, let's hear from the man who caught Kersh tonight, Austin Barnes with Alana.
Austin, I cannot imagine a better formula. Clayton Kershaw gives you 7. Brandon Morrow comes in with the 1-2-3-8. Kenley Jansen with the 1-2-3-9. What made them so effective?
I think the level of execution was unreal tonight. Kershaw was the best I've ever seen him, really. The way he was just going attacking hitters, he had a great game plan, and he's fun to catch.
I know you know better than I, but he didn't necessarily use that slider as much in the CS as it appears that he used in Game 1. Why was that so effective tonight?
I think it's just his total mix. The way he is, man, he's kind of like a train, just keeps coming at you. His slider was good, his curveball was good, and he was pounding his O with his heater.
He gives up 1 home run. Your thought about how dominant of a performance this was from your ace?
Yeah, I mean, he put us on his back this game. He set the tone, really. Can't ask for anything more than what he did today. It was awesome.
And honestly, Dallas Keuchel is no slouch. He gave you 6 2/3. What made him so effective tonight? How were you guys able to get to him?
Yeah, he was going pitch for pitch with Kersh. He got us some big jams with some double plays, but JT came up big for us and gave us that cushion a little bit.
The importance, Austin, of a Game 1 win.
Yeah, all these games are important, but definitely getting ahead is good. It's good for us all the way around, and hopefully we continue tomorrow.
Born and raised in California, you just caught your first World Series game. What does this mean to you?
Yeah, it's awesome. This team, I think we're just focused on the day, trying not to make it too big. Like I keep telling you, I'll reflect on it later and realize we're in a World Series, but we're just trying to win games right now.
3 more, Austin. Thank you.
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, tweeting out after the game, the Dodgers win, lighting up the nights for this team. LA, all over LA. Love seeing City Hall there in Dodger blue in downtown Los Angeles. So Clayton Kershaw wins the clinch game in the National League Championship Series, comes right back 5 days later to Oral and wins Game 1 of the World Series. You talked about some of his keys to the game on the pregame show. How did he execute those tonight?
Well, you know when the hitters are looking for the inside fastball, especially the righties, and Clayton has established that that is his foundational pitch. He stayed away from that area an awful lot, and when he went there, he went to the extreme a little farther in. Let's take a look at the K zone, and we highlighted the places he really wants to stay away, where it's really hurt him, in red, and we've highlighted the places where he'd like to go in green. So if a hitter is defaulting to the inside fastball and then you make a mistake, it ends up in that red area, and that's where it would be a sweet spot for a hitter who was sitting on it. Bregman caught him there once, but he wasn't in that area very much. The outside corner for him is wide open, and they're good. And when he does decide to come in, if it ends up away, as long as it's down, it gets Altuve. If he's coming out there with the curveball, keep it on the outer half. But when you do come in, make sure it's either low or farther in than they're looking, and they're going to jam themselves. He did an excellent job tonight, not making mistakes up and in the inner half of the plate where he can get hurt.
All right, so you made 3 starts in the NLCS in 1988 and then 2 starts against the A's in the World Series. When you see a team for a second time, do you have to make certain adjustments, try to adjust to maybe what the other team might be doing, change your game plan a little bit?
You've got to read them to see if they are adjusting back, so you have to wait until they force you to change. So I would go with my strengths again, and then if they start to capitalize on those or look like they're looking for that pitch, then you can go away from it. Or it's really good, like Clayton did. Let them know what's coming, but put it in a hard place to hit. Let them swing the bat. You want them to, because they're not going to be able to get the barrel on it if you get the extreme inside pitch.
Chris Taylor was the NLCS co-MVP, started off this World Series. First pitch of the game goes deep to left field. Let's hear from CT3 right now at the podium.
Hey, Chris, congratulations. The Dodger approach this year, correct me if I'm wrong, but Dodger approach has sort of been to let pitchers throw pitches, and you haven't had a ton of at-bats against Keuchel, and not a lot of success. What made you think about going up there and swinging at the first pitch?
We knew he liked to get ahead early, He does a really good job of picking at the corners and does a lot of chase pitches, but, I just wanted to go up there and be aggressive and, try to jump on that first pitch strike.
And Hunter, on your right.
Hey, how much do you think your foul ball in the third at-bat changed how he pitched to you?
I don't know. I hadn't even thought about it. I was just, my approach against him was just get him in the air. It was a good pitch. I think it was in on the black, and it's tough to do anything with that pitch. I got the barrel to it, but just pulled it foul.
We'll stay on the right, Chris. JP.
You had a very long home run in the NLCS. Coincidentally, it was against Hendricks, who threw you an 88-mile-per-hour fastball. Today, another 88-mile-per-hour fastball. Is there something about that kind of pitcher, or that pitch, that you are looking for when you step up to the plate?
I think both of those pitches were mistakes, and that's the big thing. You have to get those guys on the middle of the plate. I think if you ask both of those guys, they left those pitches over the middle, and they missed their spot.
Other questions? Back here, Olivia, we'll get you the microphone. 1 sec.
Chris, going into your first at-bat, how confident were you? I mean, did you feel like you were on the verge of something special as you showed?
I didn't overthink it. I was just going up there, trying to get the barrel to the ball, thinking be aggressive and be ready to hit the first one.
To your right, Chris. Kevin.
Chris, did you think that when you were in Seattle and then you moved over here, did you ever think this day would come and you hit the first pitch home run in a World Series game?
No, I never could have predicted this. The goal coming into this year was to hit for more power and get the ball in the air. But, I didn't think it would be this drastic of an improvement.
To your left, Chris, halfway back. Tyler.
Chris, what have you learned from being around Justin Turner? What impresses you about the way he does what he does?
Just the way he goes about his business every day. He's so disciplined in the zone, and he sticks to his plan every at-bat. And probably the most impressive thing about him is how good he is in the big situation. He always seems to come through when we need him most.
In the middle, Chris. Allison.
We're talking about your home run, but also you had a very good game, extending with the 6th inning with a walk. I mean, just what does it mean to be contributing on so many different levels?
That's kind of been the key to our success as a team. It seems like all of our big innings have come after a couple walks, and we've made the pitcher work, and then we capitalize when he does make a mistake.
All right, so Chris Taylor, he's not a big talker. He lets his game do a lot of talking. He's getting it better at these post-game interviews. We're getting a lot more out of him. But, Adriel, I want to start with you because Chris Taylor's a guy, 1 career home run coming into this year, starts the season at AAA Oklahoma City, and look at what he's doing on this stage. It's unbelievable.
Incredible. I mean, just from the moment he got there in April, and everybody talks about Cody Bellinger's time when he got to the team, how the team took off. But that was around the same time Chris Taylor got to the team. And those 2 guys, when they got in the lineup together, along with JT and Corey and everybody else, the team just took off, and it hasn't stopped, obviously.
I love the game of baseball, and especially as a hitter, it's kind of like a golf swing. You can improve your swing, and that's what CT3 did. Got together with JT in the offseason, wanted a little bit more rhythm with his hands, wanted that leg kick to incorporate that. Now he's able to drive the baseball again. 1 home run coming in his career. 21 home runs in the regular season, hitting bombs in the World Series.
Well, one, he solidified the leadoff spot because I know the Dodgers wondering who is that going to be that leadoff guy. I mean, let's not forget before the season start, they got Logan Forsythe not only to play second, but they were thinking he was going to be that leadoff hitter. Once CT3 came in, it was really his, and he ran with it and took off with it. The other thing that I was laughing at when he was getting interviewed, I laughed like everybody thinks there's some science behind going out there that first pitch and hitting it out. Like, were you thinking about, you're preparing about it? He said, well, listen, I'm going to go up there and look for my spot and be aggressive in the spot. And they made a mistake, and you do that. There's no science. It's actually called baseball. I don't know when that was lost, that you go up there looking for your pitch to drive. Now that he's doing it and being successful, that's what an interesting mentality, because there's a lot of guys. I mean, well, I'm just saying. I go,
there's a guy in the late 90s,
it's funny.
early 2000s, in
372. There's a lot of guys in this World Series who are like that. Houston has those guys. You got Altuve over there winning batting titles doing that. You got Corey Seager. You got, I mean, these guys are just ready to go out there and execute, and they're doing a great job of it.
The one thing we've seen with these young guys, we're talking about CT right now, but Cody Bellinger also, we have seen the fact that the physical was there right away. But we all sat back and watched and go, okay, what's going to happen when they hit their first slump? And we've seen how mentally strong they are. Because CT came on, he remade his swing, he did all these things, hit a little bit of a slump, but you know what? They're so mentally strong. They stayed with the process, they stayed with what they know. And it is hard to have this much success this early and stay consistent.
Well, Nomar and Adrian and Jay here both, I mean, all three of you guys know as a position players, people that swung the bat your entire life, you grow up playing this game. How difficult is it for Chris Taylor at the major league level to not just make a little tweak here, Adrian, but he completely remade his swing because he wasn't catching up to fastballs 94, 95 and above, and he wasn't lifting the ball. To do what he's done seems like a dramatic makeover.
It is a dramatic makeover, but one of the things is that, you know, when he first came over last year, he wasn't getting his hands going. And that's one of the biggest things that I've seen is that drop step load that he has. Now his hands are moving. And I always talk to especially young kids about their swing. It's like a bow and arrow. You got to pull back before you can go forward. You can't just go forward. And he was more of a guy just trying to shoot the ball the other way, trying to get slap singles the other way. You know, you can get that, but you're not going to drive the ball. You're not going to have those quality at bats. And with taking a little bit bigger swing, you know, so to speak, it allows him to hit maybe foul balls and tough pitches and get to the next pitch. And you're not, you know, just trying to put the ball in play, which is another reason why he's had such great success working counts and getting deep into counts.
And I like that he's a humble guy. He asked for help. Justin Turner.
Absolutely.
You know what? And sometimes in life, you got to be bold. You got to take risks. And that's what CT3 did. It's a big step to say, you know what, I'm going to add a leg kick to my swing since you haven't done it your entire life. So credit CT3 for making that adjustment.
What's impressive, what's not easy to do was not we talked about making the adjustment, but he made it. And not only when you actually have confidence in it, he even touched on it, that maybe going down and starting in the minor leagues was really helped them a lot because it allowed him to continue working on the success he had in spring training, but also to gain confidence in the new swing that he was developing because he had success down there in AAA, and then when he got called up, he believed in it, but he was ready. But you're thinking about that. When you're, as a player, position player, when you revamp something, you're thinking about your hitting. And then on top of that, they change your position, and they make you play a position you're not even used to or have ever played in the big league level, and that's center field. So now you're supposed to be worried about your new swing, and now you got to be worried about your new position at the same. That's what's impressive to me because that's not easy. It's one thing when you say, listen, I don't have to worry about defense. I can just focus on my swing. Defense is instinct. I'm in my normal position. I'll work on my swing and focus on that, or vice versa. I have my swing and work on this position. He had to do both, and has been successful.
Can we save this tape because we got Nomar giving credit for guys and saying how hard it is to play multiple positions.
I think we need to save it for another reason, because you admired his humility, and so opposites must attract.
Taking shots at me?
No, I didn't take a shot at you. I just thought it was really odd that you admired his humility.
I do admire humility. You got to be humble in this game. Absolutely.
Well, Jerry, we appreciate your insight from your super utility guy because you are a super utility guy. We need you to have you go do radio right now.
Oh, my.
So thanks for being on the show. We'll see you.
You kind of saying that I have a face for radio?
Wait,
I didn't say it. You did.
Super utility player.
We're gonna miss you.
Quit making up titles now. Let's go.
And you people stay with us. Don't go to radio.
Chris Taylor announced his presence with authority. A leadoff home run tonight off of Dallas Keuchel. Dodgers win Game 1 of the Fall Classic 3-1. Kenley Jansen closed it out for the save. We're going to hear from him next.
Time for our Twitter poll question of the day. Who is your Lakers MVP so far this season? Is it LeBron James, Anthony Davis? We should probably stop right there, but we're going to add 2 more. Frank Vogel, other. Basically the field, Brez.
Other. Caruso, maybe? Yeah.
Who's going to win that? LeBron going
legion
away?
Of fans out there.
AD with a few votes?
Yeah, LeBron. I'll give LeBron 78% in this poll.
And you didn't think AD will get the other 22?
Whenever I'm given an opportunity to vote in a Lakers poll like this, I always vote for Slava Medvedenko.
You really do.
Be going with other.
Yeah, you really do.
Slava Medvedenko.
Just one time, we'd love for you to take the show seriously.
You saw the 04 finals, right?
Put in some effort one time for Matt, our producer.
I will not.
Speaking of awards, the Oscars.
Yes.
They're coming up Sunday. Is this early?
5 p.m.
I thought it was March.
It's a little early, it seems.
Okay.
It's not even Valentine's Day yet.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
big day around Brez's house.
I've seen one movie this year, and it was Bird Box, which I just learned it was neither.
That's the only movie you saw. It's done.
Nor from this.
We rolled
year.
out the red carpet.
It wasn't from this year either.
Yeah, it's not. The awards.
From like 28.
The awards show.
Might be.
Little Oscars right here. We're going to make our picks for some Laker Award winners this season. Of course, we're going to start off with
the whole time.
Best Picture. Literally. Picture. Photo.
Apparently, BK is going to pick Bird Box.
Brez, who are you going with?
I mean, we just saw it 24 hours ago. I mean, this is spectacular.
Andy Bernstein. That's his
beautiful imagery.
That's his Instagram.
It's funny. If the Lakers were at the other basket, you would have seen all the Laker banners in the background.
No, you know what you would have seen? Our boss AJ Ponsiglione pointed this out. You would have had 824 in the back.
Oh yeah, too. Yep.
That would have been unbelievable.
Yeah,
did you go with that photo too?
Yeah,
or does he not get to vote?
It just reminds me of where I can buy tickets online for basketball games.
Big category here.
BK, you don't have a vote.
I think you're going somewhere that I wasn't thinking this. Best actor in a leading role. Sorry, it's the next one that threw.
LeBron James.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty evident. I mean, this guy's going to get legitimate MVP votes at the end of the season because he has been doing everything you could possibly want from a guy who just turned 35 6 weeks ago. And he's not playing like that. You saw that dunk last night. I mean, that was like LeBron at age 21. Yeah. So, yeah, he is definitely my lead actor.
I am also going with LeBron James.
Yeah.
And what I think is really impressive, too, it's not just the on-the-court stuff, which, as Mike points out, has been spectacular all year long. It's the way he's engaged in this team this year.
I like that.
And the leadership and the way he's worked to make Anthony Davis part of this whole deal. Like, LeBron has been spectacular in every way that you need LeBron to be great. And so, therefore, he wins.
He wins.
Best actor in a supporting role. This is where you took it somewhere than what my mind was thinking. So this is interesting.
Yes, I thought it was a slam dunk. Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the 1B to LeBron's 1A.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He's done everything you could want. Blocks a ton of shots, obviously, like that. He has been pretty healthy as well. He's been adding his three-point touch here and there throughout the season. And just a really good guy. I mean, I like how he's not, he's not demanding the ball or anything like that. Why would he ever? That's not really his personality.
He's not bossy.
He's fitting in very well.
Yeah, I think you clearly, Mike, don't pay attention to the rules of the academy, in which case Anthony Davis just gets too much floor time to be.
So he's another.
That's what I was thinking.
Right,
I was thinking he was in the lead role.
No, he's the Brad Pitt to Leonard DiCaprio. And What's Upon a Time in Los Angeles?
It's the answer here is Dwight Howard because
LD. I mean,
it's not just the impact that he's had defensively and the block shots and
that's
the all that.
I'm okay with this.
It's like the story here is Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard,
right?
Is a fan favorite.
He's a supporting actor.
It took a week.
He's supporting actor.
Think about that for a second.
Amazing. And
okay
certainly
with
not,
okay with that.
not least, okay?
Yeah.
Last but not least. Best costume.
I mean, this guy has been doing it for years now. I mean, Kyle Kuzma. He showed up at one time. He had like a.
Is that a no-brainer for you, Brez?
He had a hole in his shirt one time.
The mesh outfit?
He's got.
There it is, Brez.
I don't even know what that is.
That's Christmas.
By the way,
was that Christmas?
Love that suit.
Yeah, he can dress it down a little bit.
I don't know what that is.
He's got the Minions look there.
Outfit, yeah.
I still know about the hair. Kuz and I need to talk about this a little bit, but a couple years ago he had the pink liner in the fur coat when they were on the East Coast.
Did you choose the same
the
thing?
glasses last night? Spectacular.
Who'd you go with?
LeBron.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, you went with LeBron, huh?
I did.
Oh.
Because I feel like Kuz is a little on the nose. It's like he's trying really hard to win this award.
Are you saying I'm picking
the
obvious?
I feel like LeBron is sort of just low-key fashionable. Some nights it's the sweatsuit, some nights he comes in all that. And then later in the year we can look forward to the thing where he gets everybody's suits that are shorts, like the Tom Ford thing that he did with the Cavs a couple years ago, where he made everybody dress that way.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Coming up on Lake Show, it's the Laker line and a caller who is questioning the Lakers' toughness. What? Not happy.
Why, they lost one
And we
game?
have some thoughts. You'll hear them next.
Can't wait.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
This then is baseball, a game that is tied in so closely with the American way of life.
Brooklyn's Dodgers out here today are the men of the hour and the salt of the earth.
The Brooklyn Baseball Club unanimously agreed that steps be taken to draw the Los Angeles Dodgers.
How do you feel?
101.
It's one small step. Oh, Bedlam breaks loose on the field. Got him. They've done it. It's the impossible dream revisited.
The Dodgers win it 11-10. For the second consecutive season, the Dodgers are going to the World Series.
Gonsolin strikes him out to open this one. Tony Gonsolin gets him swinging. 6 shutout innings against the Cardinals. He struck him out, and Tony Gonsolin able to get out of the jam.
It is baseball under the sun on a perfect afternoon at Chavez Ravine. The Dodgers will look to bounce back after the Bronx Bombers pounded 5 homers in a 10-2 win last night. First pitch on Players Weekend is 30 minutes away here on Sportsnet LA.
The Dodgers and the Yankees, they are not only two of the most iconic franchises in sports, they wear two of the most iconic uniforms. This Players Weekend matchup between the two teams will definitely have a different look to it. And maybe that's appropriate, because while we tend to remember the great players who have worn those uniforms in the past, we need to live in the moment and appreciate those who take the field today. So here's to Kirsch and Belly, to Dub and Kraken too. Jackie, Duke, Yogi, and Mick will all be watching you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Access Sportsnet Dodgers, presented by your Southern California Lexus dealers. I'm John Harting alongside Nomar Garciaparra. Players Weekend continues, and this great matchup between two iconic franchises, Dodgers and Yankees, continues as well.
I mean, don't you miss that voice? I mean, the voice
Yes,
going
so
over there,
good.
Vin, talking about
Best.
Players Union, Players Weekend, the iconic uniforms as well, which we obviously we don't see. I think the Major League Baseball might have missed it just a little bit there as far as the timing, but at the same time, regardless, still two great teams going at it. Dodgers have a chance to win the series. Win today. Go do that.
All right. Last year, he went with Ferris for his Players Weekend nickname, but this season it's Butane, and why not? The guy throws gas. Walker Buehler coming off 7 shutout innings in his last start. Right now, Butane is joining Alana Rizzo, Jerry Hurston Jr. live on our set at Dodger Stadium. Alana?
All right, guys, been blowing up that Raider gun since you came up to the big league level. Well, really, even way before that. What do you think about Players Weekend and being able to show a little personality?
It's fun. I mean, it's kind of that point in the year where everyone's getting a little tired and do something a little different and kind of get things going again.
Would you have preferred a Major League Baseball kind of consult the players and say, you know what, give them a voice on designing the uniforms? Because it's been a little bit of a mixed bag. I'm not really feeling this year, because I would have loved to see the Dodger home whites against the Yankees home whites here at Dodger Stadium. I think that would have been cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the best way to do it, and I'm not an expert on that stuff. But no, they're interesting for sure. And I will say I wouldn't want to see their home unis in our stadium.
Do you think he looks like a pharmacist, a dentist, or like an ice cream salesman guy?
I kind of tend to side on the house painter is where I'm at on him.
I would have gone with a doctor, but the house painter.
Well, I said dentist.
The house painter more for us, I think. You've got the collar and
Yeah, okay. House painter.
We asked you earlier, Walker, about Tony Gonsolin and the fact that you said the stage isn't too big for him, and you've pitched with him a long time. Over the course of your time starting in High A, how have you noticed him mature?
I think the misses have just gotten better. I think that's the biggest thing, and I think that's something that everybody kind of learns as they move forward. And what I mean by that is when he's going away, if he doesn't hit his spot, it's going to be off the plate and not on the plate. And and still being able to do that and throw strikes is how you're successful at this level, and he's doing it well.
You know, Walker, you've been here for a couple of years now, and you've got a chance to play in playoff environments. You know, last night, having the Yankees here, did it feel like a playoff atmosphere at Dodger Stadium?
Similar. You know, I think the whole Yankees-Dodgers in the middle of August is a little overblown, and people want to talk about it being whatever, but it's still 3 games, and it's still 3 regular season games, and we're going to look at it that way. But, you know, they had a lot more fans than other teams I've seen, you know, come in here, and, you know, definitely closer to a playoff game, not quite, but closer.
32 games remaining in the regular season before you guys, for all intents and purposes, unless something crazy happens, clinch your 7th straight division title. What is the focus over the next 3 weeks?
You know, I think just trying to stay consistent and play the baseball we've been playing all year and stay healthy. I think that's the biggest thing for us. We've got some guys that just got off the DL and a few more we're hoping come off as well. So, you know, get back to full force and go from there.
I was just in the clubhouse, and I got a chance to look at a pretty good set of golf clubs, PXGs, and I saw on the back Walker Buehler.
Yep.
Is that right? Are you the best golfer on this team?
No, I am not. I may have the best clubs, I think, but I'm not the best golfer. Jerko's pretty good. Joe Kelly's pretty good. Jose Vizcaino is probably the best in there.
Jose Vizcaino's been ducking me for a while. I got to see it. I've yet to see him play golf, but I heard he's pretty good.
You know who's kind of sneaky? Will Smith is a really, really good golfer.
He's sneaky everything.
Everything. Now, you actually had a golf tournament to benefit your foundation in the off-season, I believe. Tell us a little bit more about the foundation and what it represents and who you help in the community.
Yeah, so, you know, I've told the story a few times about my uncle, and he beat Hodgkin's lymphoma as a child and then lived to when I was about 12. So I got to know him pretty well, obviously. And so we did it for Kids Cancer Alliance last year, which is a Louisville-based pediatric cancer charity. This year we're doing it for Rich Hill's Field of Genes, so that'll be fun, and I think he's going to come into Lexington, so we'll show him around. But no, we do, you know, one event a year right now, and just kind of have some fun with it.
How important is it? You know, you guys do so much in the community yourself. You know, Clayton Kershaw, Justin Turner, Kenley Jensen. How important is it for you players to make sure you always give back to your community?
Yeah, you know, I think, at least for me personally, it was important to get going on it before, you know, it becomes a real monetary thing. You know, those guys are making a lot of money and can do some really big things, but if I can kind of crowdsource some money and do something before we get to that point, then I'm going to do that. And, you know, it's just fun. We have a lot of fun with it, and kind of a good way to see everyone at home when I get home and things like that. So we enjoy it, and it's important.
How much do you think these two clubs in particular, Walker, the offenses, mirror one another?
You know, it's similar. I think they obviously have a lot of guys that hit home runs and things like that, and so do we. But at the same time, both teams have a lot of guys that are really good hitters first and just happen to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And no, I think our teams are very similar in a lot of ways, and there's a few little differences. But no, I think they're a really good team, and we really like our team as well.
You know, looking at our offense, you know, Cody Bellinger, rightfully so, gets so much praise. And in my opinion, he will be this year's MVP. But a guy that really has had a better year than last year has been Max Muncy. How impressive have you been with him?
Yeah, just his discipline and the way that he approaches the game every day, I think is... It's not what you would expect for someone that's kind of had the career path that he's had, obviously kind of reinventing himself and coming back, and these past 2 years have been pretty incredible. So, you know, he plays like he's been here for 20 years, and you know, we love that about him.
Eugene, it's always good to get to talk to you a little bit. Continued success this year. Thanks for taking the time.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Alana, Jerry, and Butane. Walker Buehler out there. No more just having a chance to listen to Walker Buehler. What stuck out to you with what he was saying?
You know, I really loved him talking about Tony Gonsolin, and they were asking what has he seen, because he's seen especially Gonsolin going on the hill today, and how the evolution is, how he has better misses, and how that is the growth of a pitcher, even something that he had to learn coming up through the minors and up to the big leagues. And it's so telling, because I'm sure a lot of people are going, wait a minute, you have to be better at missing the strike zone and doing that, and it's true. We even showed it early on about Hyun-Jin Ryu. What was Hyun-Jin Ryu's struggles yesterday was his misses were over the middle of the plate. They were strikes, but they were over the middle of the plate, and these big league hitters are going to take advantage of it. As you're going up through the minors, the same thing. You're not able to get away with those misses. With each level, the damage gets increasingly more as you're going up through the levels all the way up to the big leagues. The misses over the middle of the plate really get pummeled. So that's what we were talking about even today. The key for Gonsolin is to go out there, continue pounding the zone while having better misses. I know it's a really interesting thing when you say that, but that is really telling how these guys go about it, knowing their growth and understand themselves.
And it probably holds true even for Walker Buehler. He's struggled a little bit more on the road than he has at home, and a lot of times it's because of the misses.
He knows that. He says getting strike one, getting ahead, and having better misses.
All right, let's check out today's starting lineup presented by your Southern California Lexus dealers, going against Yankees veteran lefty CC Sabathia. It's Pollock, red turn 2, Smitty and Belly, then CT3 in the 5-hole today with Funky Muncy playing second base, batting 6th, Kike in left, Jerkstore at first, and Goose on the mound. Nomar?
What sticks out to me in the middle of the guys, Will Smith and Cody struggled yesterday. Turn it around today, guys. Just saying. You can.
All right, let's see what the Catman Tony Gonsolin is up against today. It's DJ LeMahieu at the top. Aaron Judge homered last night. Didi Gregorius hit a pair of bombs, including that grand slam. Torres, Gardner, Urshela, Mike Tauchman, he's been a revelation this season for the Yanks. And Austin Romine, who was teammates with Nolan Arenado at El Toro High School, he will catch CC Sabathia tonight. Another October audition today for that guy, Dodgers rookie Tony Gonsolin. We'll check in with Joe and Oral, plus Nomar breaks down the Catman and the K-Zone coming up. Hello, welcome to this special edition of Access Sportsnet Dodgers Baseball Roundtable Edition. I am John Hartung alongside Jerry Hairston Jr. and Ned Colletti as we look forward to the 2020 season. Major League Baseball is implementing some rule changes for this 2020 campaign, and some will have quite an impact on the game. Let's begin with the pitchers. In 2020, there will be a 3-batter minimum for pitchers or until the end of the half inning. This will obviously have an impact on the use of relief pitchers, and it will curtail the use of left-handed specialists. There is an exception for injury or illness as well. So, Ned, I'll begin with you. How do you think this 3-batter minimum is going to impact how bullpens are used in 2020?
Well, obviously, it's going to be a little bit of a change because you're not going to be able to just have a matchup left on left. You're going to have to, if you're a left-handed pitcher and you come into a game, you're going to have to either come in at the end of an inning with 1 out or 2 outs and try and get through it with before you get to the third hitter, or you're going to have to probably face a right-handed hitter from time to time. Guys have made nice livings being left-handed specialists. That's a little bit in the past now. You're going to have to get the righty out, or you get to come in at a different point in the inning.
I don't think it's going to affect a game of play the first part of the year, but as we start getting toward late August, September, you know, when you have to win a ball game, there may be an issue where a left-handed specialist gets the first 2 guys out and something happens to his arm because Mike Trout is walking up to the plate as a right-handed batter.
That could make you sick.
Well, yeah, that could make you sick. So I think that might be an issue later on in the season, but in April or maybe May or June, I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. But come August, especially in September, you're battling for a wild card. You need to get 3 outs, and you got that lefty specialist trying to get that 3rd out against a stud right-handed batter. Something might happen to his arm, or catch the flu. At that point.
Like right after retiring a batter. Oh my gosh, I've got a 24-minute flu all of a sudden.
It'll be baseball version of load management.
Oh, okay.
That's what's going to happen.
But do you think that the injury or illness provision or that exception could become something that's abused by teams?
Absolutely, John. Teams are going to absolutely abuse it, especially when you have a deep roster where you can kind of shuttle guys back and forth from AAA to the big leagues. If you have a lot of pitchers that you can use, especially out of the bullpen, I think teams are going to use that to their advantage.
First time you have a new rule, something else, the first thing you think about is how are we going to circumvent it?
Right.
How are we going to figure it out? How are we going to use it? How are we going to use it to our advantage?
All right, well, another rule change is the roster size for 2020. Regular season rosters will be expanded from 25 to 26 players, and September rosters will be capped at 28 players. down from the 40-player maximum that had been the rule previously. There will also be a cap on the number of pitchers a team can carry on their roster. So the major change there is the 26-man roster. Jerry, how do you think this will help in terms of roster flexibility?
I love that rule. You know, it helps kind of keep guys fresh. It helps managers if you need an extra pitcher out of that bullpen or an extra position player you can have, kind of like a Kike Hernandez or CT3 you use out of the outfield or infield. I really believe that's going to help teams really have that versatility. But the 28, especially in September, the rosters expand. I think it's going to help speed up the pace of play, if you will. Instead of the 9-hour games, we'll get it back down to 3 or 4.
What do you think about having the 26, Ned, for the entire season?
I think it is good because I think it will maybe stop injury a little bit from time to time. I think it's a good thing. It's also good for the players and good for the Players Association. I think the 28-man roster in September is long overdue. Only sport I know, you get down to the home stretch, you get down to the 4 weeks, and you could have a team of 40 playing against a team of 20, 25, 27, 28. To me, that never really made sense. And big market clubs could exploit to the 40, which is their right to do it, and the teams that didn't want to pay that much money, it could be at 25, 26, so the difference is tough.
Plus, Jerry, as you know, as a player, there's a lot of clutter in that clubhouse. When you have 40 guys, having it down to 28, imagine that's going to be welcome for all the players.
I think it's going to be welcome for them, especially teams that are in it and are trying to either get to the wild card or win the division. When you have that clutter, sometimes you lose concentration. 28 guys is enough. I think they got the number right, and I think guys are going to be a lot more comfortable in that clubhouse.
All right, well, you have position players. They're going to be pitching. Or at least position players pitching. It surged in 2019. And Major League Baseball is taking steps to curb that trend. Position players will only be allowed to pitch in extra innings if their team is losing or winning by more than 6 runs, or if he is designated as a two-way player, which will be somewhat rare, but position players pitching has always been somewhat of an amusing sight there, Ned, but it reached an all-time high in 2019. Is this a change that you think needed to be made for the game of baseball?
Well, I think it's obviously a unique thing to see a position player pitch until you got to the last couple of years, then it became almost part of the deal. I think what I always think about when I see this is a position player ready to field his position at the end of throwing a pitch. You're standing about 55 feet from home plate. You got a guy swinging a bat. The ball may be coming back at 105, 110 miles an hour. Are you ready to field it? So I think it will protect some people a little bit more. Haven't had any big injuries with that, which I'm thankful for. But you see that pitch right there. Not too much velo on that. Had a little launch angle actually on the way in. I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm glad that they're going to have some regulation to it.
I think Russell Martin might be a little disappointed. I know he's a free agent right now. He wants to be out there on that mound if he gets outs. But I think it's a good thing. You're protecting position players as well. You never want to see a position player go out there and kind of air it out a little bit and then blow out your elbow or your shoulder. We saw that happen with Jose Canseco years ago. He really aired it out, tried to show off his arm, blows out his arm. So I think it protects the position player, but also protects pitchers as well, because they need to be used a lot more often. And I like having pitchers, even in a blowout game, especially young pitchers. You can learn a lot in those blowout games, getting in the games and using your stuff.
I think the roster going to 26 also plays a little bit into this too, because now you're going to have one more spot you could have. Perhaps it's going to be a pitcher, so you don't necessarily have to go to that position player.
Well, we've also seen Ohtani. We've seen Lorenzen with the Reds, McKay there with the Tampa Bay Rays. Jared, do you think we might see more two-way players down the road?
I think so. As the sport starts to evolve, you're going to see more and more guys really start to be able to be power pitchers and also be able to swing the bat. Guys back in the day could do it, but it wasn't one of those things where you look for these pitchers. I remember Dreifert could have been a two-way player, but he was a guy that just pitched and swung the bat when on games he started. There are a lot of good athletes in the game of baseball. I think organizations are starting to see, you know what, maybe these pitchers can also be a first baseman or DH on the days they're not pitching and really help the ball club.
I agree. I think that you're going to have specialists that end up being able to do both. And I think when you look at the National League, you look at the Dodgers pitchers who can really hit, how they help teams, I think you will see specialists, or you'll see people developed that can be maybe that 26th person on the team that can do both.
I remember I played with a guy named Micah Owens and Rick Ankiel.
Yeah, he could hit.
Micah Owens was our best pinch hitter when I was with the Red Legs back in the day. This guy could flat out swing the bat and take you deep. So more and more guys we're going to see in the game of baseball kind of show off their power.
All right, coming up on our MLB Roundtable, 2019 was a record-setting season 4 home runs, but are all of the long balls good for the game of baseball? We will discuss that next.